the team over there. But yes, let's kick it off tonight. We're going to start with some scripture and go into our prayer. And since the theme is abundance mindset, um, abundance, attention, and language, I wanted to kick off with a few things that I read recently. So Ephesians 3:20, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask, or they according to the power that works in us. In Psalms 23:5, it says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. John 10:10 says, the thief does not come except to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. And finally, in Matthew 14:19, 20, whenever Jesus is out with the multitudes, then he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heavens, he blessed them and broke them and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. So they all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of fragments. So after he fed them, he abundantly gave them 12 more baskets full of food from the original. And that's something that we wanted to go into. So if we could bow our heads. Dear Lord, can you please bless everybody that is on this call and everybody that's going to be watching it in the future on our recordings, anybody that's joining us as a group, anybody that joins us in the future. We ask that you enter their hearts and their minds and help them to shift their mindset, help them to learn and absorb and soak up everything that is being taught. Please bless our speaker, give her the strength and the clarity and the knowledge and the wisdom, and please bless those that are on the call to have courage to ask questions and to participate and join this. Please help imprint in our souls the way that you intended the world to be, which is abundantly. And please help us to eliminate all of the scarcity that the enemy has brought onto our lives and shake those mindset and those chains and those yokes off of us, and help us to learn this thing and to carry it into the future for us and for our children. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. All
You're
right.
perfect.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our March virtual Gather and Grow. We're so very glad that you're here tonight. And whether this is your first time joining us or you've been with us before, this space is all about connection, encouragement, and growing together in real and meaningful ways. So at the Auntie Tilly Foundation, we are a family-driven community that comes alongside individuals and families to help them build strong roots through support, connection, and growth. We truly believe no one should be able or should have to do life alone, and tonight is a reflection of that. Tonight is going to be special. We're talking about something that impacts every part of our lives, how we see what we have, how we show up, and how we live day to day. We're going to explore how shifting our perspective from scarcity to abundance can change the way we experience our relationships and everyday life. I encourage you to lean in, be present, and take something from tonight that you can carry into your home, your relationships, and your everyday life. We're honored to have Belinda with us tonight. She is a certified abundance coach and certified confidence coach with over 10 years of experience in spiritual and personal development. She has worked with individuals and families both here in the United States and internationally, helping people move from fear-based thinking into greater clarity, security, and appreciation in everyday life. I know you're going to walk away encouraged and challenged in the best way. Belinda, we're so excited to have you, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited that I got to talk with some of you beforehand. My friend Daniela, the artist, thank you for joining also. So, firstly, I'm grateful to Vanessa and Michael for creating this space for all of us to be here and gather and grow together, right? Like that's why we're here. And I appreciate this opportunity to be of service. And hopefully, I am of service, even in small ways, in ways that I'm able. Really quick, I'm going to apologize. I have nerve damage in my throat, so you'll see me use this spray quite often. It helps numb my throat because the more I talk, the scratchier it gets. And I'm going to apologize in advance if my cat comes in the screen a lot. She's very needy. So tonight's conversation really is designed for everybody, adults, teens, kids, right? And part of what we're going to do And part of the objective by the time we leave is for all of us to have a shared language. Okay, a shared language that is part of what creates cultures, whether on a societal level or on the macro in the family structure. Every family has a culture. Vanessa, Michael, and I have talked to some great extent about the culture of the Sanchez Chavez family, right? And I'm really excited about that. So, a little introduction about me. Why am I here talking about this in particular? So, as Vanessa said, I'm a certified abundance coach and I'm a certified confidence coach. And for about 10 years, I helped people along their spiritual journeys as they walked and grew their relationship with whatever they called God. Okay. And also, my undergraduate degree happens to be in linguistics. As you see from the title, it's abundance, attention, and language. And the three things you'll come to learn by the end go together in a very fundamental way. So in linguistics, I focused on the history of language, the formation of language in our mouths, and psychologically the words that we use and the impact that they have, right? So all of that comes together into this presentation tonight. So to start, I'll start with a question, but then we'll move into slides so we can establish a shared understanding of some of the key terms that you'll hear over and over again. So that way, by the time we leave here, we've got like inside jokes, right? So when you go out there in the world and somebody says black coffee theory, instantly, every time you hear black coffee, you're going to hopefully think of tonight. Okay. And then we'll follow up with exercises to engage everyone to practice some of the terms that we're going to be learning. Can you tell I used to be a teacher? All right. So everyone, I want to start with a question. If I were to follow you around for a week and I could only hear the things that you complained about for that week, what would I assume that your life is full of? If you want to share it in the chat, go ahead. Vanessa will be monitoring the chat for me. If you don't want to share, that's perfectly fine. But think about it. Definitely answer that question. If I were following you around for a week and I only heard everything you complained about, what would I think that your life is full of? Okay. Now, if I follow you around for another week and I only hear the things that you appreciate and are grateful for, what would I think your life is full of? And of the two answers, which one is a more accurate reflection of what's really going on in your life? Like, really, really. Is it really full of the things that you complain about? Or is it more of what you appreciate and what you're grateful for? Okay. Same life, same circumstances, right? But two completely different stories. Okay. And that's what we're going to really be focusing on today, because our attention through this magnifying glass, whatever we put in the magnifying glass of our lives, trains our brains to see more of whatever it is we're magnifying. So that's the attention part of the abundance, and then the language will come in soon. Okay. So, it's easy to complain. Hard seasons, they're part of life. We all have them. But that doesn't mean that that is evidence that something is wrong, like fundamentally wrong, or that something is wrong with us. It just means that it's a hard season, right? And so today we're going to learn how to notice other things besides what is wrong and reframe the way we look at it by reframing what we say about it and what we notice. It's not about fixing what's wrong, okay? It's changing the narrative. Yes, Vivian. All right. So, gratitude, appreciation. Put in the chat, please, what gratitude and what appreciation mean to you, even if to you they mean the same thing. And Vanessa, if you could read some of the answers that come in for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is gratitude? What is appreciation? Anybody want to share?
If everybody's like me, I was like, aren't they the same?
That's fine.
So
that's a perfectly acceptable answer.
That was my question to you, I guess.
Is that what's in the chat? Because Because I can't see
Um,
it.
so I think people were still writing like what
Oh,
they
gotcha.
were grateful for. Somebody said being thankful. Gratitude is being grateful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gratitude for what I have, appreciate what others do for me. Being grateful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thankful. So notice I have here very specifically gratitude versus appreciation. Okay. So according to the dictionary, gratitude is being grateful. Okay. It's thankfulness. Think Thanksgiving. Okay. Appreciation. Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. Hold on just 1 second. Let me go back. It's the recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone or something or some situation. For you investors out there, it's an increase in value, but not just in the sense of monetary value. For everyone else, it's an increase in value either way. Okay. But here's my favorite thing, it's a full understanding of a situation. So think back how many times you've heard someone say, I can appreciate your point of view. Okay. I can appreciate that. Right. So let's give a few examples. Gratitude, really, it's very, very powerful. But when you throw appreciation on top of gratitude, it deepens what you're grateful for and what you're thankful for because appreciation forces you to look for the value inside of an experience, right? Like, perfect example, my kitten. She's going to be going back and forth, back and forth. She is the most Velcro cat I've ever seen. I got a cat because I wanted a pet that didn't need me so much. And she's exactly the opposite of that. I'm not grateful for that. I'm really not, because I'm allergic to cats, first of all. But I appreciate it, especially when I hear other people say, my cat never lets me hold her. My cat disappears. My cat, she's really picky. Mine is not. Mine loves on me all day, and I appreciate that. Because I understand the whole situation about cats aren't always this way, right? So, in a relationship, someone could say, I'm grateful for my partner, that they love me and that they support me, but they could also not appreciate and take them for granted, right? They might rarely acknowledge what that partner does for them and how what they do positively impacts their life. Grateful, yes. Appreciative, no. Okay. For the younger people who are still in school, a tough teacher. I didn't like that teacher at the time, but I appreciate how discipline and work ethic was taught to me through them. Oh my word. I'm so sorry. That was really loud. Right? So, were they grateful for how tough that teacher was? No, they were not. They could not say thank you for that. But later, they recognized the value of the lessons that that teacher taught them. Okay? And for everybody, because we all have bodies here, a healthy body. I'm grateful that my body carries me through life. If I didn't have a body, I wouldn't be able to experience life. And I appreciate everything that this body allows me to do every day. Okay? Please put in the chat, what do you appreciate, value, the things that you are able to do with your body? I am so grateful that I can taste things fully because I live to eat. Right? I love to taste food. I love to smell the food. I love that I can see art with my eyes because they work well. I need glasses, so, I just won't stand so close to the art, but I can still see it. Okay. I'm a person with chronic diseases, and there was a time when I could not even exercise for 5 minutes without having to sleep for 3 hours afterwards. I've built my tolerance and my strength up, so I'm grateful that my body allows me to exercise now. So, Vanessa, what's in the chat about what people are grateful that their bodies can do?
So Matthew said, walk, talk, see, and hear.
Right?
Ride my horse.
Oh,
Michael,
man.
I appreciate being able to work and provide for the family.
Oh,
Melissa, exercise, play with my kids. And
yes.
Frau, work to provide.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Because if Something is wrong with your body. You cannot do that to the best of your ability. Okay. So I'm thankful for my body and I appreciate the value that my body brings to my life. So do we understand gratitude versus appreciation? Okay. Now we're going to watch a short clip and we're going to see whether we can spot whether the man in the clip is grateful, appreciative, both, or neither. Okay. We're just going to watch part of the clip. Is it showing up? It is, right? Okay, great.
I've been at work too, and now I get to come home and pack the dishwasher and then unpack the dishwasher and cook dinner and put the washing on. And you know what? I can't continue to live like this.
Hey,
This is not me.
relax. It's gonna be all right.
How?
Doing this since you moved in. See this basket thing? I don't know how it happens, if it's the house or what, but any dirty clothes you put in this basket, somehow the next day they're just clean, folded, and in a perfect pile on your bed.
You're not serious.
I couldn't believe it at first either.
I can't do this.
No, wait. There's other things too. Plates, cutlery, pizza boxes, dirty tissues, anything you leave on this coffee table just vanishes overnight. I mean, sometimes
All right. He goes into some not so family friendly language, so we'll leave it there. But you can look for that clip later if you want. It's called the Magic Coffee Table. So what do you think? Is he grateful? Is he appreciative? Both? Neither?
He's grateful
Believes
for
in
like
magic.
the coffee to the magic, and he appreciates that.
He does. He does, right? I'm sure he's glad his girlfriend moved in with him, even. He's thankful for that. But clearly this dude is clueless about the value she brings to his life. He said, what? This has been happening since you moved in. Oh my gosh. Right? So, if this is you in some part of your life, please check yourself and be honest with yourself. Have a come to Jesus moment about what you might not be appreciating that you already have in your life. Okay? Whether that's a person or a resource or what have you. All right? All right. How do I get to the next page? Like so. Okay, so favorable versus unfavorable, preferred versus not preferred. So we were talking about how hard periods come into life. It happens, okay? Difficult experiences, it builds resilience, brings clarity, sparks growth, right? Because it's when we're down and out sometimes that our biggest breakthroughs come through. It's a breakthrough because we were down and out, right? So appreciation, even though the definition says enjoying the positive aspects, not every situation has an aspect that we prefer. But it doesn't mean that there's not something that we can enjoy, even in those situations, okay? Appreciation means recognizing the value in what we've lived through, even in the difficult things. So like it says here, that experience might not feel good, but every experience can teach us something. And I believe, me personally, that there's great enjoyment in being able to see the clarity because of contrast. If you're down and out or you don't like your situation, there's a contrast there. And you say, I don't like what I'm seeing around me. I prefer this. I think there's enjoyment in that because when you come to that realization that there's contrast being shown to you, you then have the God-given right to do something about it. We all have the same set of decisions, even if we are thrown different circumstances. The one thing that all of us, no matter the circumstance, I don't care how bad you've got it, I don't care if you get into a I've got it worse than you fight with the next person. The one thing that you and the next person have in common is the God-given right to free will. And for me, I believe there is great enjoyment in knowing that I have the ability to make a decision to do something about my situation. Right? So there is enjoyment in contrast, in the clarity that contrast brings. So one way that we can reframe, instead of judging a person, a situation, or thing as good or bad, right, evil or not, is preferred versus not preferred. Another way would be productive or constructive, or destructive, right? I could say, you know what? That's probably not the most productive use of my time. That's not probably the most productive use of my funds right now. In fact, that would be a destructive use of my time. Or listening to this person's advice might lead me to some destructive decisions. Not good decisions or bad decisions, because it's a decision either way. It's going to produce something. Because what could be great for me might not be great for Michael and Vanessa and Trell, right? Does it mean that it's bad? No. It just means it's not for me. That's another thing that I use to reframe, is for me or not for me, right? If there's somebody whose lifestyle, I'm like, it wouldn't be me. I'm not going to judge their lifestyle and say that's bad. That's evil. I'm just going to be like, it's interesting. It's not for me though, but that's cool for them, and leave it be. I think there is so much more enjoyment to be had in life and in the diversity of all the kinds of people and all the situations and all the things that life brings when we are not judging it. Because judgment comes from a lack mindset. In an abundant mindset, if I know that I am abundantly blessed, right, I'm not going to spend my time and energy judging that next person's choices. It's for me or it's not for me. It's favorable or unfavorable for me. Right? Does it mean that I don't have an opinion? Of course not. We have opinions. But judgment is when you decide that your opinion is the same for everybody. It applies to everybody in their lives too. That's what judgment truly is. Right? And so in an abundant mindset, I know I'm abundantly blessed and I know I'm abundantly loved by the Creator. I'm not going to spend my time judging whether something, someone, or some situation is good or bad. It's either for me or not. Simple as that. This is something I prefer, I don't prefer. And if I don't prefer it, I'm going to use my God-given right of free will and make a decision to either change it when I can in the ways that I'm able, or just stay here and complain. And there's not a lot of enjoyment in that, for me at least. Not for me. It might be for you to complain, but it's not for me. All right. Any questions so far? Let me do a check-in real quick before we continue. All right, then I'm going to continue. All right, so now you can put it in the chat. You can come off mute and say it out loud. What are you grateful for right now? Right here, right now. What are you grateful for?
My family.
Awesome. And how has your family created value in your life?
One thing I can say, and I don't want to go take up too much time, but like especially like my kids, everybody thinks we raise kids. I think my kids are raising me in a way, like chipping away bad habits.
Love it.
I tell them not to lie, and then I catch myself lying. I'm like, okay, I can't do that. So I'm like having to relearn. So
yes,
raising me type of thing.
Absolutely. So you're grateful for them and you appreciate them.
Yes.
Right? Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share? Either in the chat or out loud?
Melissa said the life my husband and I have created. And Angela said Eddie, Tom, and life. And then health as well.
All right.
Her.
And so what are ways that those have created value in your lives?
So we'll go to Melissa on that because I know Angela and them can't talk, I don't think.
No problem.
And Jennifer Hartman said being here tonight, that she's grateful for that.
Awesome. And do you think this will create value in your life, Jennifer Hartman?
Yes.
Good. Good. And it looks like Trell was about to say something. You came off mute too.
I was. I'm actually putting it on the chat as well. My first initial thing was life, this opportunity, the opportunity that God has called me to be to, and then I was gonna put them in order. In my priority list, in my heart, in my mind, is for one, to serve my Lord, for two, my wife, Lord willing, soon to be wife, Danielle. She's once again, she prayed for us. So, and then our family as well too. So in my mind and in my mindset, I have it in order. My God first, because He's the everything. Like I wouldn't have life if it wasn't for Him. Secondly, like my wife, my family, and then whatever else God is calling me to sow that opportunity in the workspace, in ministry and whatever it is. Sometimes our ministry is the workspace, but yeah, that's what I got.
And how does all of that create value for you? How does it
um
increase your life?
so and to me it's I suppose it's about the seeds that I sow. It's about the legacy that I instill into my kids. It's the piece of me that I leave behind. I guess
Yeah.
that's a value to me.
Yes, absolutely. Because then when you're not here, you've made an impact on their lives, and they'll carry some of that forward, right?
Correct.
I think that's tremendously valuable. So you appreciate your life, you appreciate your lady, right? You're grateful for all of these things as well. I just want to say I love how you just like blush up like a middle schooler when you talk about her. It's the cutest thing.
Love it.
Linda, can I share something? It's
Please.
interesting. I think lately, within
Uh-huh.
the past 8 months, so there have been experiences in my life that I wasn't
Mhm.
always grateful for because
Okay.
they were really hard experiences. And one thing that I've learned, I've been going to this women's group,
Mhm.
and one thing that I've learned is that these experiences have shaped me to be
Mhm.
able to come alongside women now that I've healed and I've been able to, work past some of those experiences in my past.
Mhm.
Um, the way that God is just using those experiences for me to come alongside other women and
Mhm.
help them through pretty much the same experience that I experienced, um, has really made me look at those experiences so much differently. And
Right?
I'm so grateful for them now.
Yes.
And the conversations that I'm able to have with these people now that I've gone through my healing process, and that instead of being like, oh yeah, like we dealt with this and oh my goodness, how dare they? And but it's just a refreshing perspective to be like, how can I pray for you? how
Yes.
how can how can I assist you? How can I help you? How can I help your kids? Like
Right.
it's just
Right.
opened my eyes, and I'm actually having a new appreciation for
There you
the
go.
horrible things that I've gone through.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. At the time when you were going through it, I'm sure you were not thankful for the experience. But you're saying now that you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes, another woman's shoes, and help them through it because you know what they're feeling. Now you have this appreciation.
Well, and I
Okay.
think too, because there's so much shame and guilt around some of the experiences that we've had, you don't
Hmm.
always want to share with others because it's a
Right.
lot. And I
Yeah.
think this woman was in the same position. And one day I just caught her on a very bad day, and it was like, what's going on? And she shared, and she's like, I just don't want to share because nobody else is going through it. And it was
Hmm.
like, well, actually, about 10 years ago, I went through the exact same thing you're going through right now. And she was just
Hmm.
like, what? Like,
Hmm.
just full blown tears. Like, to have somebody be able to understand what she's dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm sure she valued that connection in that moment and being seen, right? And being validated. Oh, that's a big one. Sometimes that's all we need for another woman to validate our experience and say, it's not just you, sweetie. We're all here together and we're going to get through it together. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you can, like you said, come at this with eyes of new appreciation. And that's what this is about. And that's why we emphasize there is a difference between being grateful and being appreciative. And sometimes you can be one and not the other. Sometimes you can do both. Sometimes you might not be either because you're just so in it. And that's all right too. Not here to judge. You're in an unfavorable moment if that's the case, but you won't stay there, right? You won't stay there. All right. Hold on a second. What slide? Okay. So, attention. Complete the following. Where attention goes, What do we got? Where attention goes, finish that sentence.
That's what grows.
Yes. Yeah, that's one way. Where attention goes, things grow. Yes, Trell.
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say where attention goes, the mind follows. I don't know. That was just what I
Yes,
was thinking.
absolutely, that is true. Where attention goes, energy flows, thought goes, results show. Okay,
Ah,
remember all those. Okay.
okay.
What we focus on gets bigger. We've heard of the term making a mountain out of a molehill. Why? Because we keep looking at the molehill. Did the molehill get any bigger? No. But did our attention and focus on it get bigger? Absolutely, it did. Okay. Where attention goes, things grow. Our brains are naturally going to notice what we practice looking for. And make no mistake, we practice everything that we look for in our lives. We do it over and over and over again. Right? Just like coming up to bat and practicing that swing. If you notice negative things, you're practicing that on purpose. So everyone's heard that car example is like when you think about buying a new car, what do? You see that car everywhere on the road and you didn't see it like 2 days ago. That's not by accident. It's not by magic. It's not by coincidence. It's just that you are now training your brain to see that car. Whereas before you weren't thinking about the car, so your brain wasn't trained to see it. Do you know that your brain in a matter of a second processes 42,000 pieces of information just from what you see? Just from what you see here. Women, we have bigger peripheral vision, so our number is more than 42,000. Men's peripheral vision is not as wide. 42,000 bits of information. So of course your brain is going to only focus on the things that you focus on the most. Right? Because can you imagine if you were looking at 42,000 things all the time and noticing them all at the same time? I think your head would explode. Okay? So even though in the car example, right, like, oh, I want to buy this car, now I see it everywhere, you're not actively looking for this car. Your brain just sees it. Your mind just sees it. Because you're training it to see it. So when we focus on lack, right, what we become better at seeing what's missing. Right? Oh man, I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. But when we focus on abundance, we begin noticing not more of, but what's already present. What's already present. Okay? That's the difference between lack and abundance. Abundance doesn't only mean more of. It means I have. Whereas lack means I don't have. Do we see the difference? Okay? So it's like a seed, okay? If you focus on the seed, you're going to create situations for it to grow. You're going to water it. You're going to fertilize it. You're going to do research about how much sunlight it gets. And if it says full sun, you know to put a shade over it because full sun in New Mexico is not the same as full sun everywhere else in the rest of the United States, right? We know that. I have burned many a tomato plant just trying to think, oh, full sun. Yeah, right. Okay. But because I'm focused on that tomato plant, I'm creating situations for it to grow. If I ignored that tomato plant, what's it going to do? It's going to die. And it's the same thing with our lives. If we don't listen to negativity, does it mean that negativity doesn't exist in the world? No. But it does mean that it's going to show up less in your life. Why? Because you're killing it. You're killing the attention that it grows on. Okay? Same thing with positivity. If you focus more on positivity, guess what you're going to see more of in your life? Positive things. Why? Because you're training your brain to see it. So I'm going to ask you and answer this one in your heart. What are you growing in your mind and in your heart on a daily basis? Are you growing a negativity plant? Are you watering it and fertilizing it and going out of your way to find what makes it grow by doom scrolling, by constantly only looking at the news, by only looking for opinions that match your own? Right? Or are you growing a positivity plant by actively seeking maybe a channel that only shows you good news that happens in the world? Because good news happens every day. way more abundantly than bad news does. Right? What are you growing in your heart and in your mind? Okay, so let's look at this picture. What's going on with this bird?
Good.
He's in a cage.
He's in a cage. What else? What's in the cage with him?
Got a key in his wing. I don't want to say hand.
Yes, he's got a key in his wing digits, whatever they are.
He has a cloud over his head.
He does.
Squirrel.
What's up with the
Stepping-
door?
It's open.
It
Is it?
is. It is open. Right? What's outside of the cage?
Freedom.
Nature and beauty.
Beauty, not mess, that he's stepping in his own mess. Trell, you were about to say something?
One of the first things that I noticed on that, the bird actually kind of looks happy to me.
Yes, he does.
I don't know.
He does.
I
Right?
think
Mhm,
I
go
think the
ahead.
bird has learned that that cage is his whole environment. That he
Yes.
wouldn't know what to do beyond it.
That's correct.
It would present a risk to him. So he's
Okay.
contemplating it. The door's open, but
Mhm.
he's contemplating taking that first step.
He is. He is. Right? What can this bird not say about his situation?
Not saying.
Yeah. What can he not say?
I'm
I'm
trapped.
trapped.
There it is. He
Mm.
cannot say that I'm trapped because the door is open and he's got the doggone key in his feather.
And wing.
Right? Yes, he's stepping in his own excrement. Yes, it's raining just on him. Yes, it's gloomy inside the cage only. But because I can't see everybody's face, I don't know who said that he like this is he's aware of his surroundings. And like Trell said, he's comfortable. Inside that cage is comfort. There's complaint, but there's security for him.
Mm.
And outside, it's his desires. It's the preferred situation. There's possibility, but there's the unknown. The cage locks from the inside, not the outside. That's why he's got the key. And when we complain constantly about our surroundings, it doesn't change the surroundings. That is very, very true. But it makes us forget to be appreciative for the contrast, because there is a stark contrast between what's going on inside the cage and what's going on around him. Right? He cannot say, I am trapped here in my own excrement under this one cloud that only seems to rain on me.
Mm.
He cannot say that because the door is open and he's got the key. Okay? When we focus on lack, that's what we're doing. We're keeping ourselves in that cage. And remember, we talked about how the contrast is something that we can enjoy because discomfort is the catalyst for change. If his own poop piles up enough, he's going to have to leave. He's going to have to, right? If it keeps raining only in his cage, he's going to have to leave because it's uncomfortable to constantly be rained on. All right? So let's do some reframing. Tell me, what does abundance mean to you? And what do you have an abundance of right now? Right now, what do you have a whole lot of? Whether it's tangible or not tangible.
Abundance of loving family.
Love it.
Loving.
Yes.
Home and hearth.
Yes. Right? Because there are people who can say that they don't have that.
Yes.
Okay. Let's watch this little clip real quick to see how simple it is to be appreciative of the things that you actually have.
I like rice. Rice is great when you're hungry and you want 2,000 of something. I like rice. Rice is great when you're hungry and you want 2,000 of something.
How many grains of rice do you guys have in your pantry right now? What about pinto beans?
Lots.
A lot.
Oh,
A
over
lot.
2,000.
A
Over
lot.
2,000, right? He's so right. When I heard Mitch Hedberg say that like 13 years ago, it flipped a light bulb in my brain. It was like, wait a second. That is so true. When I'm hungry, I've got 2,000 rices. That's something that my husband and I say all the time. But we got 2,000 rices though. We don't have this, but we have 2,000 rices. Right? So here's the thing. Abundance is impossible to count a lot of times. We can't quantify abundance. Because what does it mean to have a bunch of loving family? Can you count up the family members? Do all of them love you the same? Probably not. Can you quantify their love and put it in a bottle and say, I have 20 ounces of love from my sister? You cannot. Okay? So when we say, I have nothing, I don't have enough, I don't have, we actually have plenty. We just haven't noticed it yet. Okay? So when you think that you don't have, think, but I have 2,000 rices. Okay? So example, I have nothing to wear. Oh my gosh. Don't we say this all the time? But if we reframe that, what's a way you could reframe, I have nothing to wear? Is that actually true? So you just run around naked in these streets because you really got nothing to wear? I doubt that. So what could you say? How could you reframe that to actually reflect that you have an abundance? You have versus you don't have.
I have too many shirts. I don't know what to wear.
Bingo. Right? I have 3 shirts. I don't really want to wear those 3 shirts. I want to wear a different shirt. Maybe I want to wear a dress today. Okay, so when you start saying, I don't have, there's not enough of, stop. Stop yourself and try to reframe that. Be like, is that really true though? I have nothing to eat, really. I think the United States has an overweight problem. So clearly, we don't lack food. We don't lack food. I've been to third world countries. I know what it looks like when people are really lacking food. And I don't say that to shame anybody, right? And abundance and gratitude and appreciation, it's not a comparison game, okay? But it is a, let me actually recognize what I actually have instead of saying that I don't have it, okay? I have plenty. Here's some reframes. I have plenty, but I have more than enough. However, I have a whole lot of, right? I have a whole lot of beans, but really I just want some shrimp today. So it's not that I don't have anything to eat, right? Oh, Albuquerque has nothing to do. Actually, that's not true. Danielle and I went to 2 art galleries, and man, they were fantastic. And that was just 2. Albuquerque has a ton of art galleries, right? So reframe. I have plenty of. I have more than enough of. I have a whole lot of. ... Right?
Can I ask you a question, Belinda?
Sure.
I know you are like off the grid, tiny
Yes.
home type
Yes.
style living.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and like how you reflect? Was that a decision like you came across as you started like telling yourself, you know, I have 2,000 rice, and then you guys made a decision to just like reduce the stuff, but it seems like you're
did.
still feel like you have so much. Can you tell us about
I
that a little
do.
bit?
Yes. First, I'm going to correct you. It's rices.
I thought it was Reese. No, I'm just
I'm messing with you. So believe it or not, our decision to downsize. Okay, so a little bit of background. I come from very well-to-do parents. And I ran a personal chef service where my clientele were very wealthy. Very wealthy. Every house that I went to, the kitchens got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the houses got bigger and bigger and bigger. And what I noticed between my family and all of these people was how stressed out they were, how separated they were from each other, how little time they spent in these giant, when I say giant, I mean one of my clients was the Porsche Club president of Maryland, and he had a 10-car garage built for his 9 Porsches, right? Like that. The bigger the house, the more unhappy the family inside, my own included. And so this decision to move off grid was actually made out of judgment. It was not made from a very healthy place, right? It was made from a, I don't want to be that. Let's do the exact opposite. So we came out here, we bought this land. Everyone's going to laugh at this, but we were in Maryland and we bought this land sight unseen. You know, all the way down Southern Boulevard in Rio Rancho, there's nothing out here. We live out here. Way out on the edge of a mesa, we are 2 blocks from a 300-foot drop on the edge of a mesa. And we made this work, and it was nothing here. We mowed it down. We put up a 1-acre fence, me and him together. Oscar built this house that I'm sitting in right now. It's 152 square feet. He built it over the course of 2 years. I don't pay rent. I don't pay mortgage. I don't pay an electric bill. I pay 1 cent a gallon for water. When everybody is worried about ice storms and this and that and brownouts, I have no cares in the world. Earlier today, I took my dog for a walk and I got to watch a crow chase a hawk. Actually, it was a raven chase a hawk, right? I get to see the tarantulas every October, lots of them. I get to hear, do you know that there are toads in this desert? Can you believe that? And they only come out when it rains, and they make a sound like death is coming to you. Like collectively, it's crazy, right? And they're dogs, they can't, they're poisonous to dogs. I've watched rattlesnakes actually mate in front of my front door. I was trapped. I couldn't move because if I opened the door, you know, this is the life that I live, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Because how many of you get to say that? How do you guys know that the Northern Lights have shown here twice now? Did you get to see them? I did. You know why? Because I don't have anybody here, and I don't have anything to do because I don't have to work so hard to pay for all this. So even though our decision to come here came from judgment, we decided that being rich was bad, right? Now we're in a different place where we're just like, that's nice. But even if we had that money, we'd still live like this. Maybe in 400 square feet, but definitely not more than that. Because what I've learned is that everything I need, I've got it right here. I don't need for much. I would much rather spend the time that I don't have to spend hustling for money in doing things like this. Right? That's what's important to me. So I totally practice what I preach.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for asking. All right. So let's look at this. Picture this. You're walking into a coffee shop and you're like, hey, barista, I don't want black coffee. And the barista's like, that's cool. What do you want? I don't know. I just don't want black coffee. All right. Don't want black coffee. No. What do you want then? I don't know. Surprise me. Go make me something. I'm open to whatever. Barista goes in the back. There's 50,000 orders in her head. What do you think she's going to come back to you with? A black coffee. And why is that? Why is she going to come back to you with a black coffee?
Because if you don't know what you want, then she certainly can't tell you or decide for you. Maybe.
Also true. That's also true, right? But how does she even think of a black coffee?
The only option you gave her.
Thank you very much.
It's the attention thing.
It's the attention thing. Bingo.
Yeah,
See
that's
how
all she
language,
heard.
right? You see how the language is connected here? Right? I don't want. And the only thing she hears is black coffee, black coffee, black coffee, black coffee. Right? So it's not her fault. When we focus on what we don't want, we reinforce it everywhere. Make no mistake, every word that comes out of your mouth is a prayer. Every word that comes out of your mouth is a prayer. Sometimes it doesn't even have to come out of your mouth. It can sit in your head and it can sit on your heart because we don't voice all the things we think about. But all the things we say come from what? Things we think about. Okay? So just because you didn't let it cross your lips doesn't mean that it wasn't born here. So if you were to go through life and use your tongue so wisely, it from the standpoint of everything that crosses my lips is a prayer. What am I praying for? You're not going to focus so much on what you don't want. You're not going to spend as much time talking about what you don't want. So that way you don't reinforce it, because the dominant signal becomes the thing that we repeat the most. And the thing that we repeat the most becomes the dominant signal. The two things go hand in hand, right? And what gratitude does is it shifts our attention. When we say thank you for this, it shifts our attention not just towards what we do have, but what we want. Okay? I'm thankful for this thing and I want this thing. Right? And in the moment, we might not be appreciative, thankful of this thing, but later we can appreciate the value that it brought. So focus more on what you want. Say more of what you want. Get rid of, I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay? So scarcity can sometimes be confusion. So what if lack doesn't mean something is missing? It's not emptiness, right? Often what we call lack is really uncertainty or confusion. Just like someone said, I have 3 shirts, but I don't know which of them I'm going to put on. Depends on the occasion, depends on the weather. Okay? Many times lack or scarcity comes from fear. In fact, most of the time it comes from fear. Okay? But many times we have resources, we don't know how to use them. Like I can right now, if I have rice, I can come up with 7 different dishes like this off the top of my head, depending on the seasonings. Okay? Now, talking about resources. What incarnation is this dude doing? He's probably complaining about what he doesn't want. I don't want the sun in my eyes. Bro, for real. Right? Turn your hat around. Maybe use those glasses hanging on your shirt. This is why I say sometimes lack is not about what's missing. It's about us not properly allocating the resources that we actually have. Okay? If you think about food scarcity even, if you have an uncountable amount of rice and an uncountable number of beans, and you have a bottle of water and you have seasonings or even just salt, can you feed your family with that? If you have to, will you? Absolutely you will. Are you giving them a nutritious meal? Sure you are. Rice and beans make a complete protein, and there's a lot of fiber and it'll keep them full. Okay? If you have eggs, can you throw an egg on top? And man, that's a meal. Okay? You would feel more secure. So, attention and the language we use and appreciation bring security. Because what it does is it says, oh, I actually do have. I just don't really know how to use this. Right? So, doesn't that make you feel more secure when you're like, I actually do have. Let me just find a better way to use it. Okay? I have plenty. I'm just unsure how to use it right now. The algorithm of attention. If I were to open up your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, your TikTok thing, what kinds of things would I see? Anyone want to share what's on their, I think they call it a For You page, or your screen thing?
Books, Bible
Okay.
verses,
Mm-hmm.
being grateful for your husband, your kids. That's what's on my TikTok and Instagram.
Why is that?
Because that's what I gravitate towards.
That's right. That's right. On mine, it would be workouts, mindset, quotes, cats, dogs, luxury travel, and recipes. Because remember, I live to eat, right? If our social media feed shows us more of what we engage with, and the algorithm tracks what we pause on and interacts with, the creator who created all of this, do you think the creator notices where we pause in our lives and focus on? And do you think that the creator is like the barista who says, I don't know what you want, but you keep telling me this that you don't want. It's the only thing I hear. Here you go. Right? So Over time, our feed in our social media and in our lives is just going to become a reflection of our attention. The places where we pause and we listen and we give our attention, we give our brain power, we give our time. Those are valuable resources, people. What are we spending those resources on? Yes, baby. Okay, think about it. You have that one friend. Everybody's got this friend that you don't see them very often. Why? Because all they do is complain and they just bring drama everywhere they go. They go here, they bring drama. They go there, they bring drama. It's like drama follows them in like a big cloud of dust, like that one kid in the Peanuts that's always in the dust all the time. The messy one, right? Pigpen, I think they call him. But they love it, just like the bird who seems to be happy in his own excrement with his cloud raining on him. You don't hang out with that person a lot because they're heavy, because they bring that drama, but they like that drama. And when you are with that person, what do you guys talk about? Think about this. Are y'all talking about the stock market? What are you talking about, Michael?
Drama.
Right? Chisme.
Yeah.
You're talking about the
Yes.
chisme en la familia. Que la tía esta hizo esto and all this stuff, right? Oh my gosh, can you believe que el primo mío did this and did that and did the other? It's fun for a few minutes, but it's taxing, and that's why you don't spend a lot of time with this person. Okay? You see the correlation? They focus always on this, and they always have this in their lives. Let that person serve as a contrast to you and find enjoyment in spending time with them, because you're like, whoo, child, my life can't be like this. Let me today make some decisions to not be like this. Okay? Appreciate that person. Don't judge them for their drama. They can't see their drama. They can't see the key in their own hand. And that's not your business. Okay? But it is your business to be like, not for me. Okay? You decide what's in your life's newsfeed with every single thought and every single word. Treat your words as precious. Let's talk about prayers. Here's a scenario. You're on your way to an interview all the way in Bernalillo. It pays really well, and it's something that you love, something that you wouldn't even consider a job because you love it so much, right? But you're low on gas. You're almost at E. You're already running late. You got $62 in the bank, and you're driving there. Tell me what you are praying for out loud as you're driving.
Get the job.
You make it.
I want to make it. What else?
Let me make it there.
Let me make it there.
I'll run out of gas.
I hope I don't run out of gas.
I'm
Right.
praying, Lord, if it's your will, you'll get me there. If
That's right.
not, then I'm going to break down on the side of the road.
Absolutely. Right?
Just kidding.
I love that most of the answers were not what I don't want to happen first. Because if you think about it, most people would be like, oh my gosh, please don't let me run out of gas. Please don't let me run into every red light. Please don't let me get into an accident. Please don't let me be late. Black coffee, all of it. All of it is black coffee.
Thankful
So-
for the journey.
Yes, I love that everyone started out with, let me get there on time. Let me get there safely. If it's for me, I'll get there. I'm not worried about it because I have an abundance of blessings with me all the time because my creator created everything. Right? Okay. Lack says, don't let me run out of gas. Don't let me hit all the red lights. Enough with that black coffee. Okay. So don't spend your energy in prayer, praying against what you fear, praying against what you don't want. Pray towards your heart's desire.
What you want.
Yes. Pray towards your heart's desire because that is the creator's greatest wish, is to give us an abundance of the things that we want. But what happens is we get an abundance of the things that we focus on, whether we want them or not. Okay? Treat your tongue as your first source of blessing and only let the things cross your mouth that you desire. Right? So here we go. Lack language. What does it focus on? It focuses on what's missing, what might go wrong, what we are afraid of. This is fear-based. Lack language is fear-based. Abundance language focuses on direction, possibility, what we can build or what we can learn, that's empowerment. That's agency. Okay? It no longer becomes, oh, this happened. Must be the enemy. No. Must be you not allocating your resources properly. Right? If that hurt, let it hurt. But it's a truth. Okay? Abundance language and gratitude doesn't ignore problems. It just chooses a different starting point that you look at the situation. It doesn't pretend that everything is perfect. It just shows you what's possible. It shows you what really is, okay? And it keeps you in a position of agency, free will, it's God-given, instead of helplessness. Right? And if we constantly speak from lack, that cage is always locked. It feels like it's locked. And it prevents us from seeing the feather in our hand. It prevents us from seeing that the door might be open, or at least we could jiggle the handle a little bit and it could open very easily. That's what lack language does to us. It keeps us in that cage, and it keeps it raining just right over our own heads. Okay? So, if we say, I don't have time, we can change that to, I'm going to change how I use my time. I don't have time for that. You know, I'm going to make time for that because it's important to me. Okay? So that brings us to cancel and replace. A few years ago, about 7 years ago, I started saying cancel thought. I can be in the middle of saying something and I'll be like, oop, cancel thought. I don't even want to finish it. Right? Cancel thought and replace it. And that has dramatically changed how I move through the world, how I interact with people, what happens to me in terms of the opportunities and the people that present itself in my path. Right? I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, Michael and Vanessa invited us to their house. They chose like 12 people. They handpicked this group of people to come to their house and talk about investing. And I'm not really, believe it or not, of the investor mindset so much. I love helping people and I love helping investors, but I'm not quite there yet investing myself, right? So I was like, my first thought was, I don't have a reason to go. And then I turned out to, you know what, I will meet the right people and the right opportunity, so I should go. And so we went. Okay? And because of that, Michael and Vanessa and I have had opportunities show up for us that will change everything. And if I hadn't been there that night, who knows? Maybe Michael and Vanessa would have found it down the road, and maybe I would have found it down the road. But we found it in each other. And it's because I canceled that thought and I said, I'm going to replace it with something good. I'm going to find the right opportunity tonight, so I should go. Another thing that I canceled and replaced is how I use the word expensive. I don't use the word expensive in vain. And to define what using a word or a name in vain means, it means speech that is empty, meaningless, irreverent, or spoken without effect. Okay? So for example, something can cost a whole lot and bring a ton of value, or something can cost a whole lot and bring no value. That second thing, the thing that costs a lot and doesn't bring you value, child, that's expensive. The thing that costs a lot and brings you a lot of value, that just costs a lot. Do you see the difference? Can you guys tell me what are some things from this standpoint that you now consider expensive?
9 Porsches.
Yes, because you can only drive one at a time. Thank you for saying that, because I felt the same way. Right? What else? Did anybody write something in the chat of what they think is expensive from that standpoint?
Carl says my first deal.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it could be. Maybe you spent a lot of time, resources, energy, and you got a little bit back, and it maybe wasn't worth all of the stuff that you put into it. It cost too much, right? I would say my first marriage, but I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from that about what kind of partner I wanted by my side and what kind of partner I wanted to be. So I would not say that those 9 years of my life were expensive, but I almost thought that way. Okay. So like the example that I have is I've been watching these YouTube videos for like a year about international first class air travel. I didn't even know that planes, there are some planes where the first class, they have showers that you can use for 5 minutes. What? I didn't know this. But I've been watching it for a year, and so I know about how much it costs to have an international first class flight experience versus a domestic first class flight experience. Based on what I see, not that I've ever traveled first class, but I will, right? And when it comes my time, I won't hesitate to pay $6,000 for an international first class flight experience, but I will not pay $1,500, 1/4 that cost, to go anywhere in the United States in first class, because all I get is a little bit of extra room and fancier nuts. I'm not paying for that, but I will pay for a lie flat seat, a 4-course meal, and all the snacks and things that I want, and a shower on the plane, just to say that I did, right? I won't hesitate to spend it when I finally can. So you see the difference? Expensive versus it just costs a lot. So this is a great example of cancel and replace. Okay, I don't have time. I need to choose where my time goes. I can't afford that right now. Right? I can't afford that, or it's not a priority for me right now. I have a Porsche. I don't need 8 more. Okay? I'm bad at this. I'm still learning. I'm going to be good at this. But right now, I'm a beginner, and that's okay. Okay? Nothing works out for me. It actually just hasn't worked out yet. I just need to give it some more time, because I'm putting in the effort and I'm doing the things. So my creator is going to match my effort and it's going to work out. I just have to be patient. Okay? It's not the season. So I want you to get into the habit of thinking about what you can cancel and replace that comes out of your mouth. Okay? Right? All right. So what is next? Some take-home practices. Whether in a group, at a family thing, you know, like over dinner, you can check in every day. Everyone says, what are you grateful for? How did that bring value to you? And remember, you don't have to be grateful for a situation that is not preferable, but you can still gain value from it. So you can bring that up too, right? In your girlfriend groups, in your family groups at dinner, with your best friend that you check in once a week with. You can also practice cancel and replace. Or, if it helps you remember, catch and release. Catch that thought before it comes out of your mouth, release it, and replace it with something good. Okay? And something else that I didn't mention, but small good things, or as I call them, miracles and happy surprises. Something as simple as, I caught all the green lights today, to something as big as, you know what? I became the sole preferred provider for a group of 18,000 investors just yesterday. That's an amazing thing, right? So small things, larger things, it doesn't matter, but practice noticing them. And as a real quick aside, I put mine into my chat GPT. I call my chat GPT DeMarcus, and I'm like, DeMarcus, here's my small good thing for today, or here's my miracle and happy surprises for today. And I ask him to reflect back to me the things that I pray about, right? And then he'll say, oh, 2 weeks ago you prayed about this thing and look, it showed up. That's a great use of AI because they remember everything you say. Kind of like moms and sisters. They remember everything and they bring it back and they say, remember when you said this? All right. So what am I giving my attention to? What do I already have that I'm overlooking? These and all the activities, I have them written down in a PDF. So if you want them, Vanessa, can I send it to you since you've got everyone's email address? And for whoever asked for it, you can just send it to them?
Yes, and we could post it on social media and all that good stuff too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And so to close, remember that abundance begins with noticing what's already present, not necessarily only the things you have a lot of. Notice what you actually have. Security grows when we practice appreciation, right? And this is not settling. It's not that thing where you hear it says gratitude makes what I have enough. I've always taken issue with that phrase because sometimes it isn't enough. Sometimes it isn't enough. It really actually isn't. But appreciation does make what I have apparent to me. And it shows me what I have to work with, and it shows me the possibilities that I have. And then it's on me to use my God-given right of free will to do something about those resources that I'm given, right? It's the parable of the sower. You don't just put the seeds in the ground and give it back when the farmer asks for them. You put the seeds in the ground, you grow them, and you give back what he gave you, and you get to keep the rest. That is proper allocation of resources, whether it's your time, whether it's your attention, whether it's your talents, right? So appreciation makes what I have apparent and gives me direction towards what I prefer, right? Whether it's apparent what I prefer or whether it's a contrast. Remember, contrast, there's enjoyment in contrast, right? And the goal here is not perfection, but it's practice and awareness, right? The goal is not perfection, it's practice and awareness. You don't need more to be in abundance, but you do need to notice what is already there. All right? So thank you, everyone. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank
for sharing
you.
that with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Do we have any questions?
I got something. It's not necessarily a question, but
Sure.
it's just something that I wrote down
Uh-huh.
beginning in regards to appreciation and gratitude. Just what I wrote down was it's hard to appreciate the light without the darkness, and it's vice versa. You know,
Yes.
and the problems that I've experienced in my life, it's really taught me how to appreciate things a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I still fail and take things for granted, but you know, it helps to appreciate things on a different spectrum because
Yes.
you know that whatever pain that you went through or hard time that you went through. So like in regards to, I think it was Vanessa early on that was saying, you know, about that women's group and, you know, relating to other women that were having issues and stuff like that. And or same problems. I really believe that our purpose on this earth, I would venture to say for everyone, but I mean, it's hard to go across the board like that. It is not only to, you know, honor God, to spread his word, but to help others.
Yes.
And with our experiences and our problems, you know, that we experience and how we got through them and how God helped us with those problems. I really believe it's our job to show people that how God helped us and help them, you know. And another thing in regards to cancel and replace, I've secretly, and I'm being kind of vulnerable right now, but secretly been, you know, my entire life, most of my life anyway, had suffered with depression. And so that cancel and replace, I've learned to like, there's been times where I would be driving down the road and I would be in that negative mind space where I legit would have to talk to myself out loud because the thoughts would be too strong and too overwhelming for me to like even think straight. So I would have to like say, okay, here comes a stop sign. Here comes the speed limit sign. There comes a truck, you know, and literally talk to myself out loud so I can get myself out of that mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really like that cancel and replace.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful thing. And I know what you mean, kind of, because I do that with anxiety, right? If I'm about to have a panic attack, it's like, oh, the curtain is multicolored and, you know, the door is brown and I can hear my cat. And then it just brings me back to right here. And then I can use the cancel and replace to be like, okay, I'm actually not going to die. I'm just afraid right now. And there's so much power in knowing the difference. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that with us. And I totally agree with you that if we are not in service in this life, I feel like we're doing it wrong.
Right.
We can serve ourselves as much as we want, but not to the expense of everyone else. Right? So I totally agree. If we have been given extra hard times more than other people, that makes us the right people to help someone else through it. Because maybe that next person can't handle it as well as you can, Matthew. Right? And that's why you were given that season, because your shoulders are broad and you could handle it. And this person's shoulders might not be. And you could say, brother, I got you.
And it's funny because I don't want to say funny, but like I see it in kids, you know, some of the things that they struggle with that I'm like, I kind of reflect and look back and I'm like, man, that's why I went through that. That's why I experienced that.
Absolutely.
They're going through it. And I'm like, okay, it's, you know, slowly being revealed, you know, that's why I went through what I went through to help them.
Right. Right. And when you see that and you reflect that way, doesn't it make you, I mean, it's kind of weird to put it this way, but almost glad that you
Yes.
had that experience, right? And so I get to the point where I say, with all the ugly, atrocious things I've experienced in my life, I wouldn't change a single thing. If I had to do it again, I would do it exactly in the same order.
Yep.
Right? Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
At
Well,
my
if we
women's
have,
group, sorry.
go ahead. Yeah.
At my women's group, 2 nights ago, or last night, actually, it was last night. There's someone who is battling cancer, and she's having a really, really, really hard time. And she was
man.
on the verge of just giving up. She had gone to her chemo thing, and she was just like, I'm done. I'm not going through this anymore. Lord, I can't have one more treatment.
Yeah.
And she was just sharing her heart last night. And then she's just such a beautiful person. She says, and then I got out of that. I went and I served. And she
Yeah.
said, because when I am in the hardest times of my life, I have two choices. I could isolate, I can go into my bedroom and I can just turn everything off and
Yep.
not associate with people, or I can get up and I can go serve in my church or a, nonprofit, or go serve the homeless or whatever. And she said that
Absolutely.
that is what really helps her to continue to go on. And so,
Absolutely.
she got out of that moment and then said, okay, I'm going to chemo again next week. And
Yes.
so it was just like we're all in tears, but it's so true, right? Like when we're at our lowest of lows and we're broken, we have those choices. We can retreat, isolate, not want to
Yes.
be around anybody, or go serve and bring
Right.
glory to God. So
And that's what living closed-handed or open-handed is about, right? We cannot give with closed hands. In order for me to give something to you, Vanessa, I have to open my hand.
yeah.
Okay? In order to receive, right? I have to stop talking about black coffee and what I don't want. And I have to open my hand, because you cannot receive anything like this. This is lack mindset. This is abundance mindset. We could say safely that that woman has it bad, has it worse than any of us right now. But she still had of herself, right? Herself is 2,000, 3,000 rices, and she gave 20 rices away.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't have to be as grandiose as I'm going to serve in my church. I'm going to go to a soup kitchen. The thing that I use the most is compliments to strangers. We have no idea how far our words can ripple into someone's life. Right? And I love giving compliments to people. Maybe it's a selfish thing because it makes me feel great, but I'm sure it makes them feel great too. And it's genuine, and I will look around and you know what happens? I find more and more people to compliment. And sometimes the compliments are off the wall, but I give them freely because it's what I have to give. Right? You guys have your experiences. You can give your experience to someone else who might need it in that moment. Whether publicly or privately, it doesn't matter. If you don't have 2 cents to rub together, you can still give a smile. Especially in a world today where people are so rude. It is so nice to let someone in front of you on the road. It is so nice to hold a door open for someone, whether they appreciate it or not. It doesn't matter. It matters that you did it and you offered it with your whole heart. That's it. That's all I got.
I wanted to add a little bit of what you were saying with the just some reflection on some of the stuff you were going over, which was awesome, and how you were talking about language so much and the power of it, and what you're speaking. It sounded like, letting it through your threshold. Once it passes there, like that's what you're praying for. And the Bible goes into life and death is in the power of the tongue, and it's one of the main things, right? That like life and death, it's so powerful, the words that come out of your mouth.
Yes.
And in Genesis, where God said, "Let there be light," he had to speak. When he spoke, it created the entire universe, the entire earth. He said, "Let the grass grow, let the earth bring forth grass, let the animals." So him speaking is what actually created. We're created in his image. So it's always been set up that language and speaking is very powerful from the beginning of time. And then you'd also talk, the cancel and replace is amazing, and your thoughts. And it talks about, Paul talks a lot to the churches and the people that are struggling. Whenever he's going to them, he's telling them to take their thoughts captive, that if they have these bad thoughts and these things and they let them fester, that they will grow and they will let them become drunk on either anger, jealousy, or love, but they'll actually physically become drunk because of their negative thoughts.
Absolutely.
And so he preaches to take your thoughts captive, just like your cancel and replace or shift and replace. That's all in there as well. And those are some amazing things that, you know what I mean, that just my thoughts that I wanted to share just from your presentation. Was awesome.
I'm glad that you had those takeaways, right? And anytime somebody orders black coffee, please remember this. Please remember, okay? And just think, what do I actually want? What do I actually want? Let me say it out loud. Let me say it in my head, and let it be a prayer. All right, folks. Well, with that, I'm going to sign off.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.